Welcome to the Collector's Catacomb, episode number 11. Tonight we got Ronnie from Harts Pickers with us. He's going to talk about some vintage advertising, as well as the rest of my panel here to talk about their collections or different items that they've picked up and share some of their knowledge. Let's see, who else do we got tonight? We got Sean, Cooltoads, filling in for Brian tonight as our master of ceremonies, watching your comments. And, yeah, everybody else is same old panel. Myself, I'm broadcasting from Louisville, Kentucky. I came out here for the show of shows, the big militaria show that gets put on by, I think it's the Ohio Valley Military Collector Society, something like that. Just go ahead and Google it. It'll come up. But, yeah, out here doing a little bit of picking and chatting with some other military collectors, so doing the show from my hotel tonight. But with that said, we'll move on with introductions, and then we can get started with Ronnie sharing some vintage advertising tonight. So let's go ahead and get started with Dan. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Dan.
Hello, I'm Dan at More Old Stuff. That's my YouTube name also. So been doing some YouTubes, but I've been a collector for many years of many things. If you watch these 11 episodes, I think I've been in almost all of them and shown something from my collection. I was thinking the other day I might run out pretty soon, so I'm starting to have to dig a little deeper into the piles, but I don't know what's going to happen. It just only means I'm going to have to go buy more stuff is what it means, so I'll have to show more things. But anyhow, hey, welcome everybody.
Awesome, Dan. And I'm sure you'll just keep finding more and more stuff to show us. And you could also use that as an excuse with your wife that, hey, you've got to have stuff for the show.
Yeah, do the show. The show must go on.
The show must go on. All right. With that said, we have Drew, the California Picker.
Oh, he made it. You're muted again, dude. Dude, he did this last night. He's sitting there talking.
Yeah, sorry, dude. Hey, I'm Drew, the California Picker. I have a YouTube channel called California Pickin', and go check out my Facebook page called The California Picker. I specialize in fine art, antiques, antiquities, and vintage collectibles, and do some dumpster diving and flea market selling, eBay, you name it. So if you have any questions about that kind of thing, shoot it my way.
Awesome, Drew. Glad to have you with us tonight.
Sure.
And then we are also blessed by Elena. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Elena.
Hello, everyone. I'm Scrapperella, and I have a YouTube channel, and I guess my expertise, I've gone from trash picking to different metals from copper, brass, aluminum, basically scrapping to selling on eBay. Now my passion, though, is antique jewelry. So if anybody ever wants to know anything about jewelry, I'm very knowledgeable. I love to help. And if I can help, I will. People email me or Facebook me all the time or find me on YouTube. And I have a lot of knowledgeable information out there. So feel free to look up Scrapperella and check it out. And that's about it.
Awesome. Yes, you and your jewelry and pop quizzes. That's the other thing. All right, and then we got Chad, the Golden Finger Picker.
Hey, folks, I'm Chad, the Golden Finger Picker. You have a YouTube channel, Golden Finger Picker. Part of an awesome group on Facebook. It's called the Reseller Society. I used to say I'm versed in vintage electronics. Now I'm just going to say I just love everything. I mean, it's like I've been broadening my horizons, and it's just opening up so many doors. And that's one thing I'm going to talk about tonight, is something that I really didn't know anything about, but through the researching, it's now I can go out and pinpoint and find, and it's just I'm not niched in anything now. I'm like fully open. So
you're niched in everything that doesn't have a barcode. How about that?
I know enough about some stuff to get me in trouble.
Right. We're gonna switch this from Collector's Catacomb to the anti-barcodes. Anti-barcode association. Awesome, Chad. And then we'll go over to Sean. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Sean, and pimp your show, pimp your group.
Oh, obviously, as you know, I'm Cooltoads. I have a show, or well, I do have a show on Friday nights, Toadcast, 5 p.m. Pacific, and channel here, of course. And I do have a page on Facebook, Cooltoads Pad. I haven't really been doing anything again on it, but um, yeah. And you check out the National Resellers Advice, eBay, and Amazon on Facebook as well. Cool.
Awesome, Sean. And then last but not least, our guest for the evening, Mr. Ronnie Hart with Harts Pickers. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Ronnie, and then lean right into what you got to share with us tonight.
Hey, how you doing? Name is Ronnie. Come from Cape Cod, Massachusetts right now. You know, I'm a full-time reseller. Sell mostly all different things, but majority of it falls under clothing. Have a YouTube channel, Harts Pickers, or find it also under Harts Motor Company. And part of the Resellers Society with other 2 panel members. And that's about it. Feel free to ask
What's
any.
your collection, Ronnie? What do you collect? I mean, we already see a jersey and stuff up in the background, but you said something about advertising tonight.
Yeah, I love vintage advertising. I don't have as many pieces. Usually get a lot of pieces and they get sold, or we just never had the space till we got the warehouse. But I do have some stuff I can show. I mean, a lot of small stuff is actually pretty cool. Like this is an oil can, a 1-gallon oil can, probably from the 40s, maybe a little earlier. But Standard Oil of New York company, just cool, can. And a lot of this stuff now is worth a lot of money. I mean, years ago, talking like 15, 20 years ago, when we were younger, we lived in upstate New York, and a lot of the signs, like those big signs that you see outside, 6x8 signs and stuff like that, they were worth almost more in scrap than they were to sell. Nobody wanted them. It was not I could say almost like the movement that there is in the last 5 or 10 years that a lot of this stuff has become more popular. Almost as fast as they put out the price guides. I mean, the prices are going up, especially on the more gas and oil stuff. A lot of that stuff.
It's because of American pickers. You can thank them for that.
I mean, it is. I mean, if it is, it is. But I mean, it's crazy some of the prices that they're getting for that stuff now.
Well, and that's true across the board. I mean, I'm here at a militaria show, and I've attended, this will be my 3rd year in a row attending this show, and I've watched prices steadily go up every year, and I think a lot of it has more to do with the economy. Prices go up when the economy's growing, and they go down when the economy's not, But it's just like anything else. It's just like milk and bread. It's gonna keep going up. It's never gonna go back down,
Let me ask you. Oh, I'm sorry. Were you gonna ask something, Chad?
I keep trying to peep in, but I keep stepping off.
You guys gotta raise your hand because there's a bunch on that panel. Raise your hand.
Ladies first. Go ahead, Elena.
Oh, I was gonna say, pretty much with the old advertisements, it's pretty easy to date it because I'm not saying. Yeah. It's pretty easy to date it because of the name, because of the advertisement, or is there other things that you use to date those type of antiques?
Some of it is actually dated, but it's more like a lot of Coca-Cola stuff you'll find dated. Some stuff you will find dated, but it'll even have the manufacturer. But a lot of it is not dated, and you're probably going to have to go back to looking at logos, and you're talking about a very highly counterfeit, fake forgeries in this market, and probably more, in the last few years as the prices went up. There's a lot of pieces. If you look on eBay, I would say a large percentage, and I mean, talking probably 25 to 50% of those signs on there are not real. They're forged signs. I mean, especially the smaller ones. I mean, they're very.
Here's a question though, Ronnie, with those, and I mean, I've done some vintage advertising, but not very extensive. Would you say that they're reproduced for market, or do you think that they're being reproduced as deceiving? And you know what I mean, like, because there's a difference.
Yeah.
And,
I mean,
sometimes they'll say copyright 2012 on it. You know what I mean? But it'll look identical except for that copyright.
I think there's a lot of signs that they're just reproduced, especially the smaller ones. I know people said that they have them at like Hobby Lobby or whatever that store is called, some other places. I mean, you'll see them, a lot of them. And the thing is, a lot of people will take like they'll have different signs. They'll take sanders to them. I've heard of people throwing them in fires to make them look aged. People keeping them out 6 months in the winter under rock and dirt to make them look older, to get rust, to bend them, to shoot a shotgun at it and leave it out for 6 months outside to get the rust age to it and everything like that. That has more that worn look that you would almost think, like, oh, someone's not going to fake that. Look, there's rust on it. You know what I mean?
There's even reproductions that I just saw at a show I was at. There were like 5 vendors selling these things. They were brand new signs, but they had printed the rust on the sign. So the rust and the holes. At a distance, I'm walking, going, there was this huge thing of signs. I'm going, wow, that's so cool. Look at those signs. I walk up there and I'm going, I rub it. Oh my God, that's printed. The rust and the age is printed on the sign.
Yeah, one little trick that I've used is you take a piece of paper and you rub it on the sign where it's supposed to be rusted. If nothing comes off, it's printed. If it comes off, it's usually rust.
Interesting.
Yeah, good tip.
I think it's Chad's turn.
I've got a question for Ronnie on this. Like that oil can, for instance, you said it was like a New York oil company or something.
Standard Oil Company of New York.
Yeah, like stuff like that. I mean, I know there's regional value to antiques and stuff like that if it's from that area, but is it like a large premium to be in that area, or say it's found down here in an antique shop or something? Is it going to be priced a lot cheaper? Because I know you look at Craigslist ads down in my area for signage. Is it because it's cheaper here, or what's going on with the regional?
Yeah, I mean, you'll find some stuff will do better in certain areas because you'll have the collectors for that signage in that area. If it's harder to sell something maybe from a East Coast gas or oil company on the West Coast, because you don't have the people that follow that specific. A lot of collectors will follow a brand or two, or other than people looking to flip it, or less. There's a premium for anything. You can bring it to the right place.
Right. So what got you started in the vintage advertising? What attracted you to holding on to at least a few pieces and not letting them go?
I had a friend that when you went in his garage, he had all the signs and everything, and it was always cool. He's a few years older than me, and my dad had a few friends that had a few different signs. So you always got into that thing of like, you'd see these signs, and that was, I mean, we're talking 15, 20 years ago, so it always stuck in my head like, wow, I want to have the 69 Camaro, I want to have that old 55 pickup truck and have certain signs in my garage, but I never had the garage, I never had, anything to have it, and, like anything, it's not a necessity. You don't really want to go after and buy it. You know, I was always curiosity. You know, always following certain signs. You know, you follow certain trends. You know, I think now as I've gotten older, I've become, and I have a little bit more money to spend on that kind of stuff now. You know, that I've watched. But it's funny. I mean, a lot of those signs go put on Craigslist now, and if they're priced cheap enough, they are gone within hours. You know, and it's just about getting to it. I mean, some of them are large too. They're large signs. You're talking signs like 5 by 3. We're talking feet. You know, they're not gonna fit in every place, but it seems like they still move. I got a Camry. I can't fit one of those damn things in my Camry. So it's up to. So
On top.
You need a bigger vehicle there, Ronnie. That's all there is to it.
I'm looking to trade in the car just because it doesn't fit our need. But it's probably gonna be shortly. I gotta replace the tires. They're like $1,000, so I'm gonna trade the car.
It's the only reason I still keep. I have an F-250 with a diesel, and I have a 25-foot trailer. And the only reason I still keep those around is just simply for stuff that I can't fit in my Ford Taurus.
Let me ask you a question, because I've researched a little bit about vintage signs, and I know that there's a huge market for it. Now, is there a way that you date it by the material it's made out of? Like, I know porcelain signs are pretty huge, and then you got the tin cans, and then maybe you have modern plastic. But is there like certain materials that the signs are made out of that really wow you or help you date it, or you have some timetables?
I mean, porcelain signs are definitely they're the signs that have usually the best color. They're heavy as hell, you know, especially when you get into the larger ones. I mean, they're just very, you know, they're cool, you know, but comes with that, you know, they're made from probably the 20s to, I would say, probably into the 60s in the porcelain, or probably late 50s maybe, somewhere in that time frame, I would think. I mean, they went to plastic probably, I would say, 70. And I think that's where the cutoff for a lot of collectors is about 1970 probably. And, you know, there's a lot of tin signs. A lot of companies make tin signs, but you find tin signs more with non-gas, meaning oil stuff like Coca-Cola, you know, or I'm trying to think of Crush, orange soda there, or, you know, a lot of those things. And then you get into a lot of regional brands when you get into beverages. I mean, you can go all day about those different little companies, everything from like RC Cola to Dr. Pepper to Nisbet, on and on.
You can't forget Cheerwine down in the Carolinas. You ever see a Cheerwine sign up there, Ronnie?
No, I can't say I have.
I never even knew what it was till I came down to North Carolina, and that's all everybody drinks is Cheerwine. Definitely one of those local sodas. But I was going to ask, I know we'd discussed a porcelain license plate. Do you got that with you?
Yeah, I got that. I can show you that. I got a few other pieces.
Oh, hey, while he's doing that, Sean, why don't you do some quick shout-outs? Who's in the chat? No stickers out there bugging everybody right now.
Let's see. We got Wade Harrod. He was first in here tonight. Welcome. Kim Fatland. Blue Skies Bits and Baubles. Dana Bostic. Come on. Work with me here. Come on. There we go. Michael Baumberger. He said first, but now he's back in, so I saw him down earlier. Pollyanna Wilson. And slip into vintage. Thrifty Teresa, Swamp Picker. By the way, just send some good vibes and stuff like that for Swamp Picker. He's doing some surgery tomorrow, so.
Right on.
Yeah. Dale Lyon as well.
Yeah, Dale had a question about pictures. Is it better to scan or take a picture of them?
And Andrew Smith. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh,
no,
right.
Andrew Martin Alvin Smith. Sorry. Go for it.
Cool. just to answer Dale's question real quick, it really just depends on your situation. If you're trying to get the best possible results, then scanning generally is going to be better for a photo. If you're looking to save time, I take pictures of a photo just because it takes a lot less time than scanning. So hopefully that answers your question. And we're back to Ronnie.
Yeah, I got this at a flea market. I don't know, a few weeks back.
That looks fake. I mean, it looks so good.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. I'm like, how can it look that good?
The chips on the bottom here, like around the corner. You're
porcelain, unless the porcelain cracks, porcelain's like glass, right? So it's like
there's the back. It has the damp and everything it's supposed to have. I mean,
that's cool. I bet that's heavy too.
It weighs.
It's got some weight to it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, wouldn't rocks and stuff chip it, like being thrown from other cars? I mean, stuff like that, or didn't they have the plates on the front?
Yeah, they had 2 plates back then too. Because when I looked it up after I got it, I mean, there was a few like 2-plate sets selling on, which was crazy because it's 1913. I mean, but it was ones that are in better condition than that. I was just like, oh damn.
I mean, I know we don't talk about prices and stuff like that, but like the 2-plate sets, I mean, those are probably rare to find a set of the same plate from back then, right?
The older you go, those can get. I mean, I don't know everything to do about license plates, but I know the earlier you get. I mean, and especially if you can go back even earlier, where they had the leather license plates.
Yeah.
I mean, probably from I don't know exactly when they were, like in the early 2000s. Jesus Christ. Early 1900s.
Earlier, they had a set of leather license plates that they picked.
Wow, that's so neat. So it went leather, porcelain to metal? Or was there any other materials for license plates?
Leather was really early.
Yeah, leather was the first ones, and then they went to the porcelain, and then they went to the pressed steel.
Wow.
Now, about the pressed steel, and I don't have them. I've sold every one I've ever found, but there are pressed plates from World War II era because they were trying to conserve steel. So they're actually been double stamped, where they take an old plate and they would flatten it out either completely or they would flatten the date out on it and then re-stamp a new date in it. The ones that are harder to find are the ones where they flatten the whole plate out and re-stamped a whole new number over top of it. And what it does is it actually leaves an embossing in the metal, so you can see the old plate number and stuff in behind the new stamping.
And dual sets of plates, like having a mixed pair that have the same numbers on them, are really desirable for mainly for car collectors because you can get them re-registered in your state to put on your collectible car. So if you got like a 55 or whatever, or even a 49 or older plates, and you've got a set of them, that's why the prices are so high. And then there are collectors who like to collect them as a set because it's like one of a kind. You got the 2 plates that are on the car, and that's it. You're never going to see that number again.
I mean,
that is so awesome.
We get into thousands of dollars and stuff when it comes to collecting license plates, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. The leather ones. I've seen a good leather plate goes for a really pretty penny.
Yeah, I've seen like pristine, 55 license plates. Yeah. Especially California ones, selling for $700-800 for just a set of license plates because, they're going to be a guy who's got that car and wants it perfect, wants the best looking set of plates as they can get, and they'll buy those.
Do you guys ever remember when I went to the Topanga flea market and it was raining and there was a guy who had the most amazing collection of license plates? If you didn't see it, go check out my channel. It's just phenomenal. This guy had an amazing collection. I've never seen so many in one place.
Yeah, I know. Like talking about the double stamp plates, I had a 40. It was a 43 South Carolina plate that was restamped from a 42, and it was a full restamp. And I sold it for right around $100, and it only sat on eBay a couple of days. I mean, and that was just for a single plate.
And you know, all of my antique booths I've ever had, the only thing I've ever had stolen, was a 1953 California license plate. It's like I've had so much stuff hanging on a wall, sitting out, way more valuable. It was only like $30, I think I had on, and somebody stole it.
You know what I bet that was? I bet that was more about memory than stealing.
Probably.
No, people are just worthless.
Or
I've had military medals get taken. Several Purple Hearts before. They were unnamed, newer stuff.
or what if the guy had the 55?
I had. What's up, Drew?
What if he had the 55 already, and then he was just trying to get another one?
He had the other match to that, right? That was he had the
Yeah, well, I wouldn't go that
front
far.
plate to match the back plate, so he had to steal it from me. Okay.
Yeah. The worst I had is I had 3 German war merits and 2 German officer daggers get taken about 2 years ago. That's the worst I've had from an antique booth, but that's why I carry insurance. But anyways, now that we've completely derailed the conversation, back to you, Ronnie.
Purple Hearts.
What's that jersey you have on the wall?
Oh God.
It's his Little League jersey.
Nah.
There's a
It's
bubble on it.
It was an antique.
It's Rico Cardi. He was a baseball player in the 70s for a bunch of different teams. I think like Cleveland and Oakland. It's his Dominican Winter League baseball jersey that he wore and his cap.
And where did you find that?
eBay.
That's awesome.
Someone that had it. They were actually putting it up, and I wanted it.
I was thinking Dominican Republic. Where else?
It was supposedly from his, somebody I knew had it. They were getting rid of it, and I knew they were putting it up, so I just followed it and got it.
That's pretty cool. I mean, because that's such a, I don't know, to me that would seem like such an odd piece to find in Massachusetts.
Well, I didn't find that.
Yeah.
As far as your advertising, one thing I've seen a lot of, and I know they're making them, mass producing them today, is these thermometers. You know, the larger thermometers that, like they used to be. I mean, you can buy them for $5.99, but they look like those old ones, and they print the rust on those too. Do you collect the old thermometers? Do you know what? You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Those
about.
have mercury in them, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
the
probably
mercury
would
in
have mercury.
Are we even allowed to sell them with mercury? I guess it's okay, right?
Sure, why not? FBA.
If you want it.
No, I'm asking.
Go check the temperature with it.
Say hi, Kim.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, Kim. I miss you, Kim. Love you, Kim.
I miss you too. Love you.
Antique. No, just joking.
Oh,
Yeah,
joking.
dude.
It is on.
Good thing that house is big.
Here's a question for you, Ronnie.
That's his best antique find.
Dad, you're her antique. You're the grandparent.
Back to Ronnie with the advertising. What genre of signs would you not be able to pass up? And also, what is like your holy grail? What is the one sign that you really wish you had hanging up in the warehouse?
For some reason, I love Standard Oil signs. Just, I don't know, something to do with it. I don't know if it's because I'm from New York or whatever it is. I like those signs. Also, the old shell signs. where they're actually the shell shape and everything. For some reason, it just seems like that. You know, that really nice sign. Probably like a Holy Grail sign. Two signs come to mind. One's an old Springfield tire sign. Springfield tire. Oh, maybe it is Springfield tire. I can't remember.
Like from The Simpsons?
From like the Springfield. See, I'm running a blank here. It's not Springfield. God damn it.
Dude, he's catching up. That's age, buddy.
Hey,
And then the other sign is there's a circular sign. Probably I think it's 42 inches, and it's Sinclair Oil, and it has an airplane in the middle of it. We were actually in Brimfield last year, and I was talking to the guy trying to see if he was willing to budge on the signs, like $7,000. And that's a hard thing to talk to your wife about spending on a piece of metal.
Yeah, no doubt.
She's not really the easiest person to. When she starts talking about that, I don't have my house yet. You know, you buy me my house, and then we can start talking about buying whatever the hell you want. As long as the bills are paid, I don't care. But I need that house first.
Right.
But one thing about collecting,
At that price, chances are it'll still be at Brimfield this year.
one thing about collecting signs is for people who like want to get started in it, that the whole value thing of signs is of course the quality of the sign. So you know, if you got these pristine, no rust, you know, they're going to be, you know, like your 7,000 and up the big, you know, real high end ones. But there's a ton of signs out there that are rusty and beat up, and some are split in half, and you know, there's really a lot of, they look really cool if you like that rusty look, which is kind of like I like. I always find those first, and you can get those because a lot of people don't care about it because they're pretty faded out, they're too rusted. So that's a good way to get started. You know, they're not going to be a lot of money. And what I have seen those, I have had some really beat up rusty signs that I have resold for a lot more, just because the value of signs are just going up, and you can get those rusty ones, you hang on to them, someone else going to like it, you know. So if you want to get started in that, that's an easy way to do it.
Dan,
Rusty ones.
do you sell anything? I swear, you have more stuff. I thought I had a lot of stuff.
Actually, I do sell some, but I do have a lot of
last night
stuff.
you were sitting in front of a TV guide collection.
Oh, you didn't see that? Oh, that was my wall cover.
I liked it. That is.
I'm going to do a video because I made that holder for those on the wall. Actually, here, right in front of me.
Yep. I like it.
I saw it in a store up in Hollywood. They were selling TV guides, and that's how they were selling them. And I looked at it and go, that's perfect for a TV room. I mean, you know, you want TV guides in your TV room. This was my television room at one point. So I have my television underneath of it, and I says, all right. So I went looking for TV guides, and I'm finding out that those things are like, you know, $3 or $4 a piece. Well, I needed there's 75 of them up there right now. And I'm like, geez, I'm going to be forever filling that wall. And I went to a swap meet, and guess what? A guy was selling 3 boxes of TV guides for $40. I got 250 TV guides for $40, and so I went, you know, jackpot. So then I built that little thing, it's little pieces of molding, and I can take them out, I can put them in, I can swap them around, I can do all this stuff with it. But
Awesome.
I was like, what the hell am I going to do with these?
Are you going to start drawing like holiday themed faces and stuff like they do with the 12 packs of soda?
Oh yeah. Well, some of the TV guys came out in series, like the same week had 4 different covers. Like there's a Star Wars, there's a Star Trek, there's the Three Stooges, you know, and you put them together and they fit together as one picture. So I got a bunch of those in this box. I still have gosh, probably I sold a bunch of them, but I have like 200 left or 150 left or something like that. So I still got boxes of them. I try to keep the older ones and the ones that were memorable. You know, me growing up as a kid watching TV and all this stuff and my favorite things. Of course, I kept the Dolly Parton one and the Pamela Anderson one. And Jesus is in there too, so okay, we're cool.
Dolly Parton, Pam Anderson, and Jesus.
Jesus, there you go. All on the same wall together.
I really hope you put Jesus in between Dolly Parton and Pam Anderson.
No, not quite.
For me, the holy grail of
Liz
signs
Martin
would be
says, beat up sells better than pristine. Guess it depends on the sign. That would be a correct statement. But like any other collectible, it's going to depend on the sign. You know, you have a really rare sign, even if it's beat to snot, it's still going to sell better than a really common pristine sign. It's just the way that that goes, that even if it's rare, there's at every level there will be a collector for it.
You know, I interviewed somebody who sold a sign. It was a porcelain sign for $35,000.
Oh,
I can
remember
do a
that.
screenshot of that sign if you'd like.
Sure.
Yeah, I saw that video. That was cool.
Yeah. Let me,
I've seen signs that were removed off of a shack in El Paso that had tar on the back side sell for thousands.
can you see
For
that?
me, the holy grail would be the flying. For me, the holy grail would be the flying Pegasus horse of the mobile gas station.
Yeah, I like that too.
That's the one I think would be.
Oh, that's cool, Elena.
Yeah.
It has gorgeous colors.
Wow.
That's a video that I made. And that sign there, like I said, $35,000 3 years ago. We got that much for that sign. So I was able to interview her, get the whole story. She was going through a divorce. That sign sat on the side of her shed for years. And she was hoping to get $500 for it. And she ended up getting $35,000.
She sold it on eBay, right?
Sold it
on eBay, yep.
Sold it on eBay as an auction. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Wow. And this is probably a good question for Ronnie. Kim Fatlin wants to know, what are the common and rare signs to look for?
Common and what?
And rare.
Rare? I mean, rare signs basically comes down to the obscure, like something like that. What is it? Sunshine Gasoline she just showed. There's not a lot of that signs. The smaller companies like Johnson Oil or so on and so forth, they're going to be your rarer signs, you know. And then you get more common signs as you get the more common, bigger oil companies, because they had a lot more, you know, stations. You know, a lot of these signs were either, you know, land signs on the side of the buildings, or you know, signs in the front of the pumps with a big, you know, two-sided signs that you see on the pole, you know. I would say the pump signs are probably the more common, the smaller ones. Like this is a reproduction one here, but pump signs are usually small. They'll be like 12 inches or so, maybe a little bigger. But these would go on the front of the pumps. These signs are fairly common, but they're probably the most forged ones you can come across.
Now, is that one enamel or porcelain?
This is a fake ass sign. I don't even know what it is. I picked this at a yard sale for like $2. I mean, it was cool, and you know, I just bought it at the time. You know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I bought some of the reproductions. I've had a few of the porcelain reproductions and a couple of the enamels that were awesome. And I mean, they don't sell anywhere near originals, but there's definitely a market for the high-end reproductions.
We also might want to add that the double-sided porcelain signs or the double-sided illuminated signs sell the best.
Yeah, and I mean, just from my experience, almost anything porcelain at the right price is worth picking up.
Yeah.
Did you see that's pretty accurate, Ronnie?
I mean, it's funny because some signs you have to hang them off the building or off a wall, and sometimes you just want to stick them on the wall flat. But
I've got a heavy-ass porcelain stove if you want to haul it out.
Send that right down to the scrapyard.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I mean, the signs, I mean, it's just, it takes the chance of how much you can get into a sign for. I mean, the days of picking up a sign for $50 and flipping it for $1,000 is probably gone. I think everybody's watched the American Picker show, and they know what they have for the most part. I mean, you might get people that don't really know the true value of something, or they have a Europe or something, but, you know, I know people that buy and sell these signs all the day, and, you know, they're buying them up 50-60% of retail and then selling them, you know, trying to get, you know, but it's like almost selling cars with at one point. Picking up a sign for $4,000 to sell it for $6,000, that's a lot of freaking money.
yeah, I've even had signs that say like for rent, apartment for rent, on a really old chippy sign, or even don't park here, or no trespassing, or any of that stuff sells good. Even street signs that came from the government, you know, or from the state rather, you know, stop signs, all that stuff sells eventually for somebody's man cave.
Everything. I mean,
Everything.
I mean, there's so many different forms of advertising. Like Chad said, thermometers. I hate thermometers. I don't think I would ever have a thermometer. But there's certain people that just collect thermometers. I mean, you can go to door pushes. I mean, gas globes, gas pumps, coolers, oil cans. I mean, even cars. I mean, there's people that will pay to have like go on, look on eBay and look at some like 30s freaking like pickup truck, because it was a Texaco gas station. It had a premium. Somebody wanted that original vehicle, and they'll maybe keep it the way it is, maybe have it restored, and that's going to be, you know, in their collection. I mean, some of these people got godly amounts of money to spend. I mean,
What about those big porcelain letters, you know, that they're separate letters?
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I think the biggest ones you think of is Goodyear, because they have those ones, and then they had that freaking flying shoe or whatever it was, always in the middle. I mean, they're worth money. Texaco's another one that used to have the porcelain letters, the 12-inch letters or whatever they were. I mean, they're worth money.
Yeah, there's a Firestone,
And
a
it's-
whole building down the street near me that's got a Firestone, big Firestone sign. It used to be fluorescent. I think it's all been broken out. I'm waiting for the building to fall down so I can rush over there and grab that thing before anybody else. Oh man, I love this sign. It's huge. I don't know what I do with it, but I'd get it somehow.
You reminded me of a story that and this is true, Dan. So there's a sign across the street that I've always admired, and it was this big yellow sign, and it was, I really couldn't tell because it was really up high on this brick building. And my friends lived down the street, and they lived right across the street from this thing. Well, one night, when there was a really bad storm, this thing blew down on the sidewalk.
In your yard.
I looked out the balcony, and I said, the sign blew down, I gotta run out there and get it. And I went and got it. It had a little bit of break to it. I assembled it back together. I then mounted it on this stretcher bar, and I have it in my bedroom today. It's an amazing sign.
So I just got to wait for a big storm to come through here, I guess.
I was gonna go up there and steal it, but I know that wasn't a good thing.
That's like when the hurricanes come by, you know, which, knocking on wood, that they haven't come by in 10, 11 years. But
Yeah.
when they do, you're collecting all the signs and scrapping
And
them.
one of my friends offered me $1,200 for it, and I told him no.
Wow.
You love it that much.
Elena, that reminds me.
That's a lot
It's
of love,
big.
man.
It's big. It's 4 feet by 5 feet. It's big.
Man, nice.
Wow.
It's not metal. It's made out of masonite.
Huh. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. And Elena,
But
that
also,
story about the hurricanes, that reminds me, if anybody watches Axeman, Shelby from Louisiana. He goes out searching the ditches for aluminum to fix one of his vehicles, and that's what it's from, is the hurricane.
Signs.
The road signs into the ditches. And they go digging for road signs to fix his swamp buggy. So that reminded, that you was talking about people going out collecting signs that blowing around. That reminded me of that.
Yeah. I mean,
Hey, it's resourceful. I mean, technically, I guess it's public domain at that point, you know.
Oh yeah.
They're just gonna pick it up and toss it probably anyway.
The scrapyards don't let you scrap certain signs, you know, like stop signs and stuff like that, because they don't know if somebody took it or what. But like usually right after a hurricane, it's like pre-game. But sometimes the cops are in certain areas where it might have been torn up bad, and a business wants to scrap all the metals themselves. The cops will like monitor it, but it's just total chaos at that point. So.
Right.
But masonite, what type of material is masonite? I'm drawing a blank.
What's that?
Masonite is that pressed board, that dark brown pressed board. It has one smooth side and one rough side. Came about, I think, around the 1950s, I would guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to research it again because
You know what it is.
I know what it is.
Masonite, it's like a concrete base, isn't it?
No. Masonite is well, you guys know, like, you know what clipboard, you know, like an old clipboard that's made out of that dark wood or whatever that is, clipboard, that's masonite.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense then.
Yeah.
All right. Well, switching gears from advertising, and I do want to thank you, Ronnie. I believe everybody has gleaned some information tonight. Hopefully our viewers have learned something. The signs that you have in the oil can is definitely pretty cool.
Yeah, I got more I can show too real quick. We got a second.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, feel free to show.
Oh, this one's fucking heavy though. This is another.
Oh yeah, there we go.
This is like this would have a frame around it and would hung on the curb. It would be called a curb sign. They would hold it. You know, you would see this out in front of your business to get traffic. This is a Quaker State motor oil one.
Now, is that
A lot
porcelain?
This is double-sided too.
Yeah,
Wow.
There you go.
Oh, that's upside down.
Yeah, we get the idea.
It's funny on the American Pickers, when you see them negotiating, they do mention if there's double-sided or not, and I think it's pretty much like you can almost add 50 to 70, 50 to 100% probably.
And then this is a tin one. It's freaking sharp though.
Wow.
This one is actually dated.
Those are pretty immaculate.
This one is actually dated. Yeah. You might not be able to see. It's like numbers right there. This was dated
What is the back? Can we see the back, Ronnie?
in the second month of 52.
Can we see the back of that? Ronnie,
Wow, so that's 50 years old.
can we see the back of that?
He just turned it.
Yeah, it's double-sided.
Oh, it's double-sided.
Yeah.
I thought you were screwing with
Like the third time he said it, I was like, "Is he fucking joking?"
Oh, sorry. Thanks. Well, you know, one good point about that reproduction thing of those fakes is that if there's no rust on the back, you guys, it's definitely new. I mean, these things sat out in the rain, in the weather, and they all have rust on the back of them, and at the corners.
Yeah, but some were inside signs, like for product.
Not predominantly. Porcelain was meant to be outside mainly.
Oh yeah, porcelain. I meant like the sign that he was just holding up, right? Like that could be like an inside sign, maybe.
Yeah, that was probably in a grocery store or something to do, you know, something like that, or a country, you know, store, something where you would find baking soda.
Right.
Would
Or
that have
that'd
been
be like
hanging?
Something out of the 50s.
Would that have been on chains, like
Probably
you would
stock.
walk under it because you could see it from both directions?
That is, it probably had a frame. A lot of tin signs like that, they probably would have had a frame and maybe hung from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as a lot of signs will have those, you know, they have the things that they could either be screwed to or in one way or another. But that sign is probably in a frame, I would assume, like a metal, like a wood-based frame.
I know we gotta move on, but just one last question. Do you think it's the signs that are outside that were exposed to the environment more would be more collectible than an inside sign?
Nah. I mean, it depends on the rarity of the sign. Now, if you're talking about condition, I mean, condition signs are weird. They go from a grade of like 10 to 6, and then they go like 10, 9.5, 9, 8.5. It's really odd. But 6 is your like shit sign. 10 would be your high end, and you know, you get a rare sign. People love those signs pristine, as a lot of people like them would wear. I love, especially the signs that are extremely expensive. I like to see the wear on those signs. Because you can get so much more of them for your money versus, you know, a pristine sign. And it looks almost like it's been reproduced in a way. You know, it looks like you have a reproduction. So I mean, might as well, if that's what you're looking for. But everybody has their own opinions, and it's just like everything else that people collect.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we do need to move on, even though apparently vintage advertising is a popular topic for the panel. We will slide over. Which panel member wants to go first with their show and tell? And again, Ronnie, thank you for coming on. Feel free to stick around and harass your fellow panel members.
All right.
Not running you off yet. We're just going to quit talking to you.
Okay. I'm just getting shut out. I see how it is. I'm the youngest thing that's ever been on this show.
Dusty.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's probably a dig at myself and Chad and everybody else.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You're like 16 years old.
Oh, did you say, Chad, you wanted me to start?
Oh, I don't care. Whoever wants to start. I'm throwing it out there tonight instead of putting me in the spotlight.
I hate to do this. I hate to do this to the audience, but I've got some military stuff. But I picked up 2 of these today, which is awesome. I'm not going to talk too much about these because I got some other stuff real quick. But no, I got these, and it's got the thing, you know, the
Oh, hell yeah.
It reminds me of like on the flight deck, you know, they're like,
Yeah.
Dude, you need a jet seat to go with that thing, man. Or
Yeah,
something.
that's exactly what those are for, aren't they?
Yeah,
I
get
would
in
say,
there.
it's got the microphone inside it.
Yep.
Is that like Highway to the Danger Zone?
But I got 2 pair of them today.
Top Gun.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah. But no, what I'm going to talk about, what I was saying earlier, is I was lucky enough to go to a garage sale, and I bought a nice group of 11 old knives, and they're the old military.
Knives or bayonets?
I don't think it's a bayonet.
It's a knife. T-bar.
It's a knife. Well, okay, that's a good topic. K-bar. Okay, you hear the word. Now, see, I didn't know a whole lot about these, but during my research, none of these are actually K-bars. Okay, K-bar was the first one who made this particular style knife. It looks exactly like it.
Yeah.
And then now I've got 4 or 5 different makers of these. They literally, it's in the same style as the original K-bar, and they've been nicknamed the K-bar. and just like something that looks like a Bowie knife, they call it a Bowie knife, but it's not necessarily a Bowie knife. This isn't a K-bar. This one is actually a Camillus, and I'm so lucky because the quality of these knives are just superb. It's like unused, still has a factory edge on it, and I know we don't talk a lot about money, but I've gotten 11 of these, and I've already sold like 4 or 5 of them, and one of them's the MSI, and then you have your different brands like the Canetta. That's a good brand, and here's another one. And yeah, when you see them, people call them K-bars.
Didn't James Bond, Sean Connery, have one of those in his first movie?
I don't know, but Rambo did.
Yeah, I was gonna say Rambo.
They're pretty common. They're also called a marine fighting knife.
These are the knives you see them in the movies come up behind somebody and slice their throat.
Right. Well, the Marine Corps are the ones that issued the K-bar.
And yeah, those have a matte finish. Those aren't polished, right?
It's actually a coating put on to help protect from. It's called.
I think it's called Parker sized.
Yeah, I think that's it.
And that's also to protect it from flashing to a potential enemy.
This handle, that is leather.
Yeah.
So, and that's another thing you can find out that's reproductions don't typically have the high quality leather like that. And
yeah, those are actually individual discs that are stacked on top of the tang.
Yeah.
Wow.
So let me ask you, Chad, you said you have multiple brands there. Every single brand has a leather handle?
They all look exactly alike. Because what it is, okay, the military, what they do with the military, okay, the military awards, these are 2 different knives, but they look exactly the same. I mean, 2 different makers. Now, what the military does is they award contracts to these companies, and they say, this is what we want. So they
wanted it to look like a K-bar, so they made them like a K-bar. Yeah.
This is exactly what the military wants, so it depends on the years. Like the MSI, they only made 5,500 of them. It was a very small contract, so that made it really rare, but that was made in the 80s. But it's worth more. I mean, it's rarer than any rare K-bar. And like these, the Canetta, I believe that was like made from 68 to 70. And then you've got your Camillus, which was earlier, I believe, like after the war till after World War II till the Vietnam War, something like that. But I mean, it's just
right. Well, awesome. Like Chad and I talked, the specs do change slightly throughout the years because, like, you know, they started with the pommels, the way they were attached, and they adjusted it as years went on, where the pommels got thicker and they got a pin put through them.
See that pin right there? See, a lot of these productions,
the early ones didn't have the pin, you know, so they do make adjustments as the contracts and the years go on where they try to make things better.
Yeah.
But it will all stay within pretty much generally the same specs as the original.
And they're all.
So is that the tang all the way at the end?
Yeah, it goes all the way through. See, that's what the reproduction.
Oh, wow.
The cheap ones will all be one piece of metal and probably plastic or something to make it look like it. But they'll all be marked. Like this one's a.
Yes, technically you can take that pin out and disassemble that knife.
Yeah, all those discs come off.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, in the sheaths, you know, typically, I mean, for somebody that's been in the military knows that this is an authentic piece because this is exactly what the military does. They will mark them, and I mean, it's just, and that's the sheath. But That's a typical military, or duct tape with the black marker. But yeah, I've learned a lot about them.
I'll make sure to take some pictures tomorrow, and I'll post them up on the CATACOMB so people can see how many different knives are out there. Because I've probably seen over 1,000 knives.
Our good friend Will Terminal 99 is an expert at knives, so hit him up too. He knows a lot about Camillus and all those other ones. Case.
Yeah, I was so lucky to get that MSI. I mean, that thing sold really quick, and the MSI, only 5,500 of them were made.
Wow.
And I got them all at a yard sale for $20 a piece.
Nice.
All right. Well, I'm going to cut you off, Chad, and we'll slide over to, how about Dan? What you got for us, Dan?
Oh, I pulled out some movie posters. Probably some other videos you've seen these things sitting in the background. So the three I got.
Some movie posters, right?
Yeah, just some. So I got a couple here. I'm gonna try to do this. See them better without too much. This is a 19. Let's see, I think it's 1927. 1927. Sci-fi movie, The Lost City. I don't know if you can see it. I got too much reflection going here. Kind of a big poster. This one, because of its age, I got it already shrink wrapped on this board, and I don't want to take it out of here because it's super, super fragile. It's got a couple rips in the corners and stuff, but it's a really, really, really fragile.
You see a little pinhole. You see little pinholes in the corners, Dan?
Yep. Tiny pinholes.
Yeah. You know what that's from? That's from them displaying it in the movie theaters.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they used to pass. Yeah, then they used to pass it on to the next movie theater. And they.
Well, see, that's the thing. You may be able to see those pinholes, but if it's shrink wrapped on there, I would be more concerned that it would be a counterfeit, because I would want to be able to feel it and see it.
Well, it's also been folded, which is very typical of all movie posters. If it doesn't have a fold in it, then there's a good chance it's a reproduction, because that's how they shipped them to the theaters. They didn't have envelopes like this. They folded them like 3 or 4 times and shipped them in envelopes, stacks of them in envelopes. So almost all old movie. Here's this. You kind of see it here. I don't know if you can see it. There's actually got a hole in the middle.
Oh yeah, we can see it.
There's a line right here. There's a line across here. The folds go here, one in the middle, and then there's one down the center where it was folded over. And that's one of the good signs for if it's a real poster.
I think that's a. Is that considered a half sheet or a quarter sheet?
This is a half sheet.
Half sheet, yeah.
It's quarter sheets. I've got small. I have some of those. I have
lobby cards.
I have some down here. I'll show you that are.
And Chad, with the posters like that comes with knowing what you're buying, because I know I've sold a lot of posters and I've had them boarded and shrink wrapped because you get more money out of it.
Well, there's a technique for preserving posters that I have a couple military posters. They'll cloth back them. There's a company, a couple places that'll do that for you, where you can ship them off, and they will actually glue cotton cloth on the back, a canvas on the back of it, and that is an acceptable process for any old movie posters, because the chances of this surviving another 100 years just sitting in a plastic bag and not having it supported, it may rip again. But they do the cloth backing on collectible, and that's an expensive process. So if you've got some really high-end stuff, I was fortunate at an auction to buy a bunch of World War I British recruiting posters. I actually have one left sitting up here on my wall, and you may have seen that. That's actually 1914, or is it 14, 17? 1914, 17 poster from Britain, and I had about 7 of them, and they were all cloth back. So the previous owner really was taking good care of them and had that process done to keep it intact. So here's another one I got. This is from the 19.
Yeah, it was like
Metropolis.
Metropolis is what, 1927, Drew, or something like that.
I think it's earlier than that. I think it's
Yeah, I think
19.
24 maybe.
Yeah.
It was like one of the first like sci-fi movies. German.
Fritz Lang.
Lang. Yeah, he put it on. Now, this is not. Believe me, to find an original Metropolis poster, it would be. It would be. Matter of fact, just to let you know, there's the guy I got this from, and the other poster is a really reputable poster dealer out of Chicago, and he was telling me that I think there's only 4 original Metropolis actually hung on a theater posters, and the last one that just got sold to actor Leonardo DiCaprio for $800,000.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an original 1924 Metropolis poster. So if you ask what my holy grail of posters that would be one of my. That's on my list, right? Okay.
That'd be
Find one folded up in a box somewhere at a swap meet or something would be just.
And then of course,
I'll throw it in a padded mailer and send it to you. Dan.
Okay, same here. This
and of
poster,
course, Frankenstein and Dracula.
Yeah, this poster was they remastered the original in 1980, and they sent it out on a limited play run in different theaters around the country, and that's what this poster is from. It's the 1980 version. I mean, it's semi-collectible, but because it's the closest thing I'm going to get to a Metropolis poster and be able to afford, right? So this is it. And if you've ever seen the movie, you can actually watch it. You can rent it, and I think it's on YouTube. You can go through YouTube on multiple sections and watch it. It's probably, it's just way before its time for being a black and white silent movie. It was a silent movie, by the way.
You'll have to remind me, Dan, when I get back home to pull my box of movie posters out of my warehouse.
Okay.
And send you a list, knowing that you're interested in movie posters, because I probably have, I don't know, like 100 or so that are sitting in a box.
Wow.
That I never went through. They're all folded. I don't have any that are folded.
Oh, cool. Yeah, let's talk.
So this is 90s.
This is a 1970 movie. I mean, this is like the thing about posters is, yeah, you can collect the ones that are, got famous actors that are famous, Gone with the Wind, and all the ones that are really famous movies. One of what I like the posters that just look cool. They're I love sci-fi stuff, so I love the look, that artwork from the 60s and the 50s, and just the way advertising was during that time. So this is the 1970s. It's called The War Between the Planets, and I've never seen this movie. I actually started trying to find the DVD of it. I found a couple on eBay, and I need to go look because I'd love to watch this movie just because it just looks funky. There's these like weird animals pulling the astronauts down into the pits of fire down here, and the moon, and there's rockets are flying all over the place, and I don't know, this would be kind of cool. But anyhow, this was just a neat poster. And it was folded. It's all folded. You can see the folds in it. It's been mounted on this board. But in that same theme here, I picked up lots of these. Now I think these are quarter sheets. What they call quarter sheets, and they're smaller, so they're a little easier to try to get a distance here. I'll show you some of these. But there's these kind of, this is from the 60s. Very a B movie, never heard of it. Although, look, one of the actresses is, Jane Mansfield's in this one. She's the name in the middle. So these are kind of funky. I have had hundreds of these things, and I get them. Some of them I'll sell. Some I just hang on to. These I haven't decided what I'm going to do. And here you go, Code of Silence.
Oh, that's
another one. Yeah, the artwork on these is what really makes them kind of desirable, and what I really like about collecting these posters. If I had enough wall space, this is 1960, and let's see, and not to destroy these. Well, here's a military movie. Heroes Die Young.
Huh. Look at that.
So it's got this cool explosion, and this is 1960. I'm trying to see who's in this, if there's anybody that I recognize. I don't recognize any of these actors in here. But, anyhow, it's like that. Let me just show you real quick. Go through some of these. I don't have that many here. So it's not. But here's another one. It's not a military, but it's called The Dangerous Charter. It's like a maritime, a boating movie of some kind.
Wow, that was cool.
So you think about if you look at like the difference between marketing of movies from the 50s and the 60s to the way they are now. I mean, you just don't see this kind of stuff. Now this one, not as colorful, but a comedy. You see that is Red Skelton.
Huh.
And I'd never heard of this movie before. Wait,
hold that up right there.
Red Rides Again, really?
Public Pigeon #1.
Gotta love the square wheel on the front. Or rectangle.
And that's Vivian Blaine is the co-star on that one?
Let's see. Janet Blair, Vivian Blaine, co-starring Janet Blair.
Janet Blair is on there?
Yeah, co-starring Janet Blair.
Oh, cool.
From RKO Pictures.
Wow. Janet Blair, nice.
Yeah, Drew, you probably know more of the names on some of these. You probably know more of these than I know. Oh, here you go.
Yeah, I definitely know some names there, Janet Blair and Vivian Blaine, yeah.
The Quick and the Dead, in the military.
Yeah, Drew's been rubbing elbows with so many people from Hollywood.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I've probably seen his name all over the time. Victor French.
That's probably where he stops.
He only tries to look like a shabby picker when he's on the show. Once he gets out of here, he puts back on the Armani suit and gets it.
That's right.
I think the thing I like about the antique, advertisements is, especially with the people on it, it's kind of like old photos in a way. You see how people dressed and you see the fashion changes. I really like that. And I think that also draws people into collecting.
So this one is War as Hell. And it has a thing in the corner here about Audie Murphy. It says a dramatic forward. Well, he must have did some kind of thing in the beginning of the movie, like did some kind of presentation forwarded by Audie Murphy, America's Most Decorated Hero. Tony Russell, Baines Barron, Beauty Dan, and Wally Campo. Any of those ring a bell, Drew?
Yeah, let's see. What was the first one?
Tony Russell.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
This
is 1963.
That looks like a B movie.
Yeah, I think all these are, I think. I don't think these are too many. This is True Gang Murders. There are no actors in this film. See real killers slain in an orgy of gang warfare.
Damn. Nice. I gotta go watch that now.
You think you can put this on a poster in the theater?
We've got to move. We got to move on a little bit to get everybody else squeezed in. But we'll be hanging out afterwards and be able to finish showing them off, right?
Yeah. I got a few more left, but that's okay. So that's my stuff for tonight.
Awesome, Dan. And that is definitely some cool stuff. I hate having to be the bad guy sometimes. But trying to go forward. What's that, Chad?
I'm just messing with you.
Oh, we'll go to Miss Elena.
I'm going to be really quick tonight.
Bless us with her presence. We've got her and Chad at the same time this week. How special is that?
All right, well, real quick, I won't take up too much time. I know we got a lot to talk about tonight, but I wanted to show 3 necklaces and kind of explain how I would date these necklaces and what I look for and which one dates to be the oldest. But first, which one do you think dates the oldest first? We have a barrel clasp. So can you see that? Then we have a box clasp.
The box clasp, of course.
And then we have another box clasp.
The large box clasp.
The second piece.
So which one out of all of these do you think is going to be the oldest?
I think the second one too.
The second one.
I say the third just so I can
Watch
win.
should be the first. But
Yeah,
I think it's
be
the
the
second.
first.
All right, let
So
me.
here's what I want to say about the second piece. Those are like little drilled pieces of what are they? Shell or a little
Mother pearl, which is shell, yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with number 3.
All right, so this is number 1. This is number 2, and this is number 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, number 3 is the oldest.
That's a bunch of bull.
Let me show you.
That's why they call me the California Picker.
The box clasps, they go back to untold centuries. Nobody really knows exactly when they started to be made. The barrel clasp started around 1930. Now, the box clasp, they stopped being made around 1950. So this could be anywhere untold centuries to 1950s. With this is from 1930s to even still made today. One of the things that I look at to also help date is I actually look, and I touched this last time, but I got a couple more examples I wanted to show. I look to see how it's fastened onto the wire itself, or the string to the clasp. So this one's actually wire that's like clamped.
That's like a little fishing deal, right?
Yeah, except this is wire strings, so that will date it. And this right here has a retro feel to it. It's mother of pearl flowers with natural coral and some natural green stones. Really pretty piece. This will date to the probably 40s, 30s. But this is one of those clasps that you'll see like mid-century, and they still do clamp today, but it's not the same type of clamping. Now you can't always go buy this because if a necklace was remade later on because it broke, then you could see other different type of fasteners to the clasp that will date later, even though it might be an antique piece. But let me show you the difference between the way these two clasps were put on. Now you see, I hope you guys can see. You see how this one the string loops through it?
Yeah.
Can you see that? That didn't start doing until mid-century. You don't see that with antique pieces. So with this piece, it's either going to be an antique piece that was restrung, or it is a mid-century piece. The reason I'm going to mid-century is because the glass pieces have an iridescent to them, and the iridescent look that's in the little glass beads as well, they didn't really start playing around with until retro later. Like kind of like Aurora Borealis, but not exactly the same. But just the way it looks, I would date this mid-century, and even the way that the clasp is. But this is my biggest key to where I would not feel comfortable listing this as antique. But you could have it restrung in the mid-century. Now, if you look at the antique one, where this is probably Art Deco even later, but I'm guessing Art Deco because of the circles and everything like that, if you've seen my previous videos. But you'll see that the actual string is just right on it. There's really no fastening.
Is it fishing line, Elena?
No, fishing line was made mid-century, I believe, as well. You don't want to see fishing line because that will be
right. So is this a stretchy material or just heavy string, or what is it?
This is just string.
String.
But you see how it It's just on the class. There's no connector. You want to see that with the older pieces, or you know they just use regular linked chains like something like this, you know, just links. So that's one of the other things that I look at with jewelry to help me date it. And sometimes it comes down to just guessing by fashion and style and look, but it's just a little extra help to keep me guided on the right path of dating it. And that's it.
Woohoo!
That's great, Elena. You are turning us all into jewelry experts 1 week at a time.
I have a quick question.
What's up, Sean?
So if a necklace is like strung with string, that would be something to like take an extra look at.
Well,
versus like wire, or I mean not wire, but
you know, wire, chain, string, fishing line.
But I mean, you'd want to be like a little closer look, you know, more.
It's everything. You have to look at the clasp. You have to look at the material. You know, it's every little detail that helps date it. It could be string with a lobster clasp. A lobster clasp wasn't made until like 1970s, so it's going to be a more modern piece. So it's just that extra that kind of goes, okay, which one? These are two box clasps. They have the same clasp. How would I date one? You know.
Oh, cool. Okay, got it.
And then you can look at that
extra. You said. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it goes down to material and everything, but that's just, you know, one little facet, I guess.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right, Drew, before you jump through the camera and smack us all.
Am I ready?
Go for it, man.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, since we were talking about posters, guys, I had this really very cool vintage 1960s, late 60s, early 70s poster. It's done in that incredible rock and roll type of font. And this is designed by a world famous poster designer, rock and roll poster designer. His name is Tom Wilkinson. And he designed covers for people like Janis Joplin and Neil Young and Cheech and Chong and all kinds of people. And this is Ravi Shankar. And Ravi Shankar is the greatest sitar player who ever lived. And he played at Monterey Pop Festival along with Jimi Hendrix, etc. And this is a very cool poster. The condition is amazing. It doesn't have any holes in the corners, which means that this was never... Now, sometimes they put these up on poles, telephone poles. But this one had, as you can see, no holes in the corners. And it's absolutely real. There's no date on it. But it has Tom Wilkinson down here, right here. Tom Wilkinson passed away not too long ago, and so did Ravi Shankar at a very old age. So this poster is worth some money. Next I have this really cool item. I've never owned one of these, but I've always known to look out for stuff like this. Any kind of measuring, old kind of antique measuring devices of some sort. And this happens to be a slide rule. And this is in like a custom leather case. And don't ask me exactly what a slide rule does, but you can tell me. But it does some calculations
That was used before the electronic calculator. Before you could go buy an HP or Texas Instrument, calculus calculator. You could do everything on that you can do on the high-end HP calculator back in the day. It's just that it took a little longer. It's as fast as you were to figure out how to slide things around and make your calculations. That's how you did it. Yeah. When you went to calculus class in college, that's what you had to have.
But look at the old clip there. Look, it's all rusted, and some guy wore this on his belt for 50 years or something.
Yeah, what's the maker on it, Drew?
It's a good brand. In fact, I looked up the brand, and there were some of these brands, some of these slides, not this one. and I'll have to just hold on. Let me see. And some of them sold into the thousands of dollars. This one happens to be not one of those, but this was patented in 1924, and the company's called Keuffel, or yeah, Keuffel, Keuffel, and Esser Company from New York.
Cool.
And I just thought it was very cool. I could pick this up at a little.
That's a good maker.
Say again.
That's a good maker for slide rules. They made
It is. They have stuff in the thousands of dollars. This one is not going to be one of those, but I just thought it was very cool to pick that up. Next, I did a video on this. I don't know if you caught it, but an original copy of the original Wizard of Oz book by Frank L. Baum, and it's illustrated by a guy named, what's his name? Well, I'll get to it, but anyways, this book originally was published in 1880 or 1890 something, and then reprinted in 1902. And then when the movie came out in 1939, they had another printing, and this is probably that copy, because it has pictures of the Wizard of Oz in there, and some really great plates, some colored plates.
Wow.
His name is Denlow. Yeah, his name is Denlow, the illustrator. And in this copy, Dorothy was, depicted as a little girl, not like a teenager like she was in the movie. So, very hard to find this kind of original Wizard of Oz book. Now, the unfortunate thing about this is that there's no dust cover. And if there was the dust cover is actually worth more than the book, you guys. And if it had its original dust cover, it'd be like three or four times what it's worth now. But we're not going to talk price, I guess. But it's not a jackpot. It's not a jackpot.
The dust cover's worth more valuable than the book.
In this case, yes, and a lot of times it is.
And is it actually marked Wizard of Oz, or is it just an antique dust cover? Like, what makes it so special and valuable?
Real collectors of books need the dust cover. And I'm not sure what year it happened when dust covers came into vogue or came into play, but old books had great leather covers, and there was no dust cover needed. But whenever that was, 1920s or 1910, whatever it was, turn of the century, when dust covers came into action, that's what real collectors need. And a book will never be A-list without the dust cover. Now, sometimes people will buy a great book, and then they'll hunt down the dust cover, and they'll pay lots for it, and then they'll put the two together. That happens.
And how can I tell what an antique dust cover looks like? I mean, can you just get one? Like, are they made out of different material, or? You
need to go online and you need to look up the date of the book and when it was published, and look to see comparables. Go to Google and then hit images, and you'll see. In this case, the dust cover was green, and then there was another printing where it was orange. So it had a couple of different incarnations. This book has been printed quite a lot.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, that's interesting. I learned something. I don't mean to take up too much time.
Oh, no, please do.
No worries, no worries.
This is what's fun. I don't want to just move on right away. I want to let it sink in. So This is my last find for the night. This is a very cool vintage pair of jadeite. Now they're not Fire King. They're not marked Fire King anyway. But there were a lot of companies doing these kind of jadeite, jadeite dishware and glasses and accessories. This whole thing came in a set. So you had like salt and pepper. You had coffee. There was bigger containers that held different things, flour and sugar. And these are very collectible for somebody doing like a 40s style, retro home. Very collectible, you guys. This is a great bolo. Jadeite. anytime you can find these green glass slag type of 40s ware. Now this is pretty rare to find this kind of size. I'm used to smaller salt and pepper shakers. Now the tops are really messed up, but it shows, you know, where these things have been. Like, how many times did somebody use that thing in the past?
I just see those on somebody's farm, you know. I love those. Those are
Truly
awesome.
amazing.
Those are really cool.
I like
Yeah.
them.
Well, and speaking of glass and pottery and stuff, I've got some stuff I want to show you, Drew, but right after I show some pictures. I didn't pick up a lot today at the show. It was just a quick walkthrough. I got into town a little bit late, so I did pick up a few things, and I thought I'd share them tonight. That was kind of my goal. So this is a set of 3 images that are dated 1916, actually May of 1916. And this is of an Army unit. I'm not sure what unit yet. I'm working on that. But standing on information, they were getting ready to set up camp, and I'm hoping that I can figure out, based especially on this image here.
That's a pretty cool building.
Yeah, I'm hoping, because it is May 1916 specifically, and that's actually written in the photo. That's not written on the back. You know what I mean? That I can narrow it down and maybe identify what unit it was.
You think that's West Point?
I mean, it could be. I haven't looked yet. I mean, I've literally owned these for about 4 hours now.
What's it say down below there? Can you read that?
You can see it. It's written in there. Company C, pitching tents, May 5th, 1916. So.
You know what? There weren't many buildings that were like that. You know, I think Dan might be right. That could be West Point.
Yeah, and I'll check it out. I mean, I'm definitely going to compare. Here's something else that's cool. I got to sit and talk to Ronald Rosser again this year, which is always fun, and he signed a little photograph of himself. He's a Medal of Honor recipient, the only one from the regiment that I served with. He served with the same regiment as I did, but he served during Korea. He's the only living recipient from my regiment of the Medal of Honor. So I got to sit and talk with him for a few minutes. That was pretty cool. And then the last photo I have is something I picked up solely on the purpose that I just thought it was cool. That is a, let's see. That is an M42 gun crew in action on the back of a half-track. And this was taken down at Fort Bliss, Texas. And basically it was a dog and pony show put on for a Turkish general and some other individuals. They were demonstrating the half-track. Now, a lot of people don't realize is that Fort Bliss used to be a training base. So I would assume that this was probably some sort of training unit. And that's why they were there watching them. I haven't done much research. This is a press photo, so I actually might have some luck getting some more information on it because there are numbers associated with it and whatnot. So those were kind of the neat photos that I found. Now,
I don't think that's West Point.
What's that?
That's not West Point. I was looking at pictures. West Point's made out of stone. All their buildings are stone.
Okay.
Not like that.
Well, it's going to be a little bit of a project, but I think we'll be able to identify it, or somebody will, only because at least we have a narrow date to work from, you know.
Right.
But so on my way here, I stopped and did a little bit of picking, and I've got some glass and pottery. I specifically want to show you, Drew. I know you would appreciate it. This is a cool piece, and I need to look it up. The hallmark on it is USA 706, and I know that's going to be associated with some sort of pottery maker. but I believe this is a mid-century modern piece.
Mm-hmm. USA was a brand also of just the pottery.
Was it?
Yeah, just USA. Yep, pottery. Yep.
Well, that's what this is.
Yep.
You can see the mark on the back of it.
Yep.
So I
Yeah,
know
sold a lot of that.
706 was used by McCoy, but this is definitely not a McCoy piece.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked it up solely based on the pattern
Mm-hmm.
inside of it. I just thought that was just a really awesome pattern, and I'm sure you could explain it so much better than I can.
Well, no, not really. That's just a very cool dish.
Yeah. Yeah, and with the tree, it's supposed to look like tree bark and stuff. So.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. That was one dish that I picked up, and then I picked up a piece out of Pasadena, made by Rose Lane. I think it's Rose Lane. Is there a Rose Lane pottery?
Roseville. There's.
Yeah, Roseville's awesome.
No, I know Roseville. I'm sure I'm.
Rosale, Rosale.
No, give me 1 second. I looked it up earlier because they had some. Rose Lane. Yeah, it is Rose Lane. They were out of Pasadena, California. Again, I believe this to be mid-century modern.
Cool.
And there was there were some other pieces at the shop, and that's how I was able to look it up, because this hallmark is kind of blotchy. But there were some other, a lot more. They had a clearer hallmark on them, so I was able to look up and see what it was.
See those little dots? See those little dots on the bottom?
Yeah, I would assume that would have been from the pieces when they fired the glaze. Right?
Once it's glazed, and they set it down on these prong-like things that, or when they fire it, it's fired on that tripod kind of metal prong thing.
Right.
So nothing touches it. The very least amount it touches it. So you'll see those 3 prong marks usually in the bottom of those. Those aren't imperfections. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, this is just great. There's quite a bit of crazing to the inside of it, but the glaze on the outside is immaculate.
Yeah, good color.
So yeah, I was pretty. I mean, I thought that one was a nice piece. I mean, we don't talk price, but I mean, so far I'm up to $20. So I don't think that's too bad. This was another cool piece. I know you like glass.
Yeah.
So this is definitely a piece of art glass. It was blown and spun. You could see where they knocked the slug off down here, and then they flattened it out. And there's all kinds of imperfections, air bubbles. The outside is completely smooth, but the inside is actually rippled from the different types of glass being spun together. So, and it is, I mean, it's probably every bit of 2 to 3 pounds.
Yeah, that's nice.
So, I knew you would
see the
like
top,
something
the top.
like that.
Can I see the thickness from the top? Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's probably
Quarter inch.
Yeah, it's probably about a 1/4 inch. The base is probably about a 1/2 inch. I don't know if you can really see it, if I can get the right angle on it, but it does turn. There it goes. You can see it turns clear. And I mean, there's bubbles all throughout this piece. So it's just, I don't know. I just thought it was quite the design. And then finally, this is the one piece that I really was lost on, but I'm hoping you can help me find my way. It is art glass. I do know that there are imperfections in it, and everything has been applied. So it wasn't one piece formed in a mold. This is one piece here, and it's been applied to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
The handle was formed, and it was applied as well.
Mm-hmm.
What I found interesting is I know like Tiffany made double layered glass, and I couldn't remember what the other style was, but the outside of this is definitely clear glass, and the color comes from the inside layer.
So it's sandwiched, yeah.
I
It's a
didn't know what
sandwich
that was.
glass. Yeah, butterscotch sandwich glass.
Is that what that
Nice.
would be, sandwiched?
Yeah, I think you'd say it's sandwiched because it's clear and then it's got that color on the inside, and you know that could be kind of considered maybe Murano, but it's hard to say. Glass is hard to pinpoint, especially if it's not signed.
Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, there is no signature on it. I don't know. It's one of those things where it just catches your eye, and for $25,
Yeah,
I just bought it. You know,
yeah.
it's definitely a quality piece. There's no doubt about
Sure.
that. You know. So those are my pieces, and I know we went over time tonight. Hopefully, we didn't lose everybody. But I do want to toss out there the sourcingforum.com. I want to toss out the alliedmilitariaforum.com. Check out the Toadcast tomorrow night. I will be on the R Show Sunday night with Chris and Sean again. I'll be talking, I believe, militaria. I got to go over my questions Chris sent me. Monday night is Profit Talk with Danica, Deb, and Dusty, the Triple Ds. Tuesday is the Green Room. I don't remember who or what they're interviewing or if they are, so we'll have to check them out. And then Wednesday night is the meet and greet in Picker's Church on Sunday. Sorry. And then next week we're going to have Jason T. Smith from Spike TV's now I'm going to screw that up.
Thrift
What's
Hunters.
the show?
Thrift Hunters.
Thrift Hunters. There we go. But he's a collector of tiki, anything and everything tiki. So he's going to be on with us next week talking about his tiki collection and teaching us how to make a Mai Tai. So that's about it. And I know we went over for the evening, but I had just a lot to fit in tonight. And hopefully we'll see y'all next week, and that you enjoyed the show. Make sure to leave some comments, hit the like button on your way out, and have a good night.
Bye, everybody.
Cheers now.
Right.